Hello students, myself Jyoti Nahar from Shiv Jyoti Educational Group, Kota. Now we are going to do the revision of chapter number 5, that is soil. Let us take up the important topics. The first topic in this chapter is weathering, and what is weathering? The breaking down of rocks into smaller pieces, and this process is called weathering, and this weathering process is a very slow process. It takes thousands of years to take place. Then the second topic is soil profile. In this we have 3 layers of soil, that is the topsoil, subsoil and the bedrock. The topsoil is the most fertile layer as it contains humus in large amount. The second layer contains less of humus, air and water is also less in this layer, and the bedrock contains large pieces of rocks. As this contains very less water and air, so this is not very good for plants. Then the next topic that we have is soil erosion. Now what is soil erosion? The carrying away of the top layer of the soil by some agents like wind and water is called as soil erosion. Now there are different ways by which soil erosion takes place, or there are different agents which cause soil erosion like running water, blowing wind and some human activities like deforestation, that is cutting down of trees, because you all know that the roots of the trees, they hold the soil together, and if there are no plants, no roots, the soil will become loose and will be easily carried away by wind and water. Some other human activities like overgrazing, they also cause, and ploughing of hill slopes, they also cause soil erosion to greater extent. The next topic is soil conservation. Soil conservation means protecting the soil from being eroded away, and there are various ways by which we can conserve the soil. Let us take up a few topics. Soil conservation, how we can conserve soil? There are various ways of conserving soil. The first one is afforestation. Afforestation means growing of trees, growing plants in or trees in large amount, and this is a very effective way of conserving soil. The second one is by growing cover crops. Cover crops means when the fields, they lie barren between the growing of two crops, when these cover crops like fodder or grass, they are grown in the medieval period so that the soil can be bind, and this helps in soil conservation. And the third one is terrace farming. Terrace farming means the slopes of hill, they are cut into steps so that the speed of the water is reduced and soil can be conserved. The amount of soil which is carried away becomes less due to terrace farming when the slopes are cut into steps. And the fourth one is building embankments. Embankments means a small wall which is built near the roadside, river sides, so that the water does not enter into the fields or farms and soil can be conserved in this way. The other ways are growing bushes and along the fields so that the soil is not easily carried away by wind or blowing by the flowing water. So these were the important topics of this chapter, that is weathering, soil profile, soil erosion and soil conservation. Now we are going to discuss the bookwork. First question, tick the correct answer. You are given 4 options. You have to choose the correct one and tick it. First question, soil is formed by the weathering of. Soil is formed by the weathering of rocks. Rock pieces, big rock pieces, when they break up into smaller pieces and further into more fine pieces, then they make up the soil. Second, the most fertile layer of the soil is topsoil. The most fertile layer is the top layer and that is called the topsoil. Which of the following human activities is leading to soil erosion? Soil erosion means flowing away of the top layer, and that is caused due to deforestation. When we are cutting down trees, the roots of plant which bind the soil, and that soil becomes loose and thus leading to soil erosion. The erosion of soil along the river banks can be prevented by building embankments. Embankments means small walls which we build along the river banks. So they prevent soil erosion. Fifth, in hilly regions, what can be done to prevent soil erosion? In hilly regions, we can use terrace farming. Terrace farming can be done to prevent soil erosion because the soil which is flowing from the upper level, which deposit at the steps, means terrace are made, steps are made. So the upper steps, the soil which comes from the upper steps deposits on the lower steps. Then we have second question, fill in the blanks. Few words are given to you. You have to take the help of this help box and select the correct word and fill in the blank provided. The first one, dash is essential for plants to grow. Soil is essential for plants to grow. Second, the dash of the soil is greatly reduced by soil erosion. If soil erosion occurs, what is reduced? The fertility of the soil decreases. Third one, dash is the indiscriminate felling of trees. If we cut down trees in large amounts, that is called deforestation. So we are going to write deforestation. Fourth, protection of soil against soil erosion is called dash. If we are preventing the soil from being eroded away, then we call it soil conservation. Fifth one, dash is an effective method of reducing soil erosion. The most effective method to prevent soil erosion is afforestation, and afforestation means growing plants in large numbers. Then C question, name the following. 3 components of soil. Soil has 3 components, that is gravel, sand, clay. Many other are there, but we are going to write 3: gravel, sand and clay. Second, the most fertile layer of the soil. The most fertile layer of the soil is the topmost layer, and that topmost layer is called the topsoil. Third one, 2 agents responsible for soil erosion. Soil is being eroded away with the can be eroded away by flowing water and strong winds. So the agents for soil erosion are wind and water. Fourth one, 2 human activities that cause soil erosion. Soil erosion for which we people are responsible, we humans are responsible. That is deforestation, cutting down of trees, and overgrazing by the cattle. When the cattle, they eat up the farms, they eat up the crops which are growing on the farms, they lead to soil erosion. Fifth one, the part of plants which holds the soil together. The part which is below the ground, that is roots. They hold the soil and thus prevent soil from being eroded away. First we are going to discuss the internal questions. The first internal question, what are remains of dead plants and animals called? The remains of dead plants and animals which fall on the ground, it is called the humus, and it is very fertile part of the soil. Second one, what is the indiscriminate felling of trees called? The indiscriminate felling of trees means cutting down of trees in large amounts. Then it is called deforestation. This first question you are going to find on page number 43, you have to write, and answer is on the same page. Second question is you have to write on page 44, children. The third question, what is terrace farming? This question you are going to write on page number 45, and the answer for this question, what is terrace farming? In hilly regions, slopes are cut into steps to reduce soil erosion. This is called terrace farming, means the slopes, they are made and cut into steps so that the soil which comes from the higher level deposits on the lower level, and this type of formation of steps is called terrace farming. You are going to write this question on page 45 and the answer is on the same page. Now let's move to copy work. First we are going to discuss the definitions. The first definition is weathering. And what is weathering? The breaking up of rocks. When bigger rocks pieces, they break into smaller rock pieces and further into fine sand, then they form soil, and this process of breaking down of rocks is called weathering. So the process of breaking down of rocks by the action of sun, wind and water, it is called weathering. Second is soil erosion. Now what is soil erosion? The process of wearing away of the topsoil by the action of wind or water. By the flowing water or by strong winds, the top layer, it gets eroded away, means it gets depletion. So this process of wearing away of the topsoil by these agents is called the soil erosion. Then third one, soil conservation, means the process of soil to protect the soil against soil erosion. The protection of soil against soil erosion, when we are preventing the soil from being eroded away, then it is called soil conservation. Then answer the following questions. How does soil support life on the earth? How is soil supporting the life on the earth? Humans and animals, we all are dependent on soil. How is it important? Soil is essential for growth of plants. Soil is very important for the growth of plants because they take up the water and minerals from the soil. It also contains air, water and microorganisms. Some microorganisms, they also develop in the soil. Some animals, they too make houses, homes, their homes in the soil. So it is supporting life on the earth. The next question. Question number 2. Give any 3 causes of soil erosion. There are many causes. We are going to write 3. The 3 causes of soil erosion are deforestation, cutting down of trees, running water, when the water is flowing, it carries away the soil with it. Then overgrazing by animals, when we leave the cattle for grazing, they also result in soil erosion. Third one, what is soil made up of? The ingredients or the components of soil, that is, soil is made up of gravel, sand, clay particles, humus, all these are present in the soil. Fourth one, what is the importance of humus? Why is humus important, which is present in the soil? How it is important? Humus is the most fertile layer of the soil. It is very fertile. It helps in enhancing the growth of the plants. It allows air and water to pass through it easily. Humus allows air and water which can pass very easily into the soil, and thus it provides essential nutrients to the plants to grow. Then the fifth one, describe any 2 methods of conserving soil. How we can protect the soil from being eroded away. We can conserve the soil by following ways. The first one is afforestation. Afforestation or planting trees, it is an effective method of conserving soil. The more plants we grow, the more the soil is being bound and then soil erosion is being prevented. Second one, in hilly regions, slopes are cut into steps or terraces to conserve soil. So, terrace farming can be done in hilly regions so that we can prevent the soil from being eroded away. Then the sixth one, explain soil profile with the help of a well labeled diagram. You are going to first explain the soil profile. Means we are going to explain the layers and then we will draw the diagram. Soil profile is the layers of soil, means we have soil in 3 layers, that is topsoil, subsoil and bedrock. So these 3 layers, they are called the soil profile and it has 3 layers. First one is topsoil. What does it contain? It contains sand, clay, humus, air and water, and as it contains humus, so it is very fertile for plants. Second one, subsoil. It contains broken pieces of rocks, water and little humus. Humus is present in the second layer, that is subsoil also, but the subsoil contains less humus than the topsoil. So this is less fertile than the top layer and it also contains broken pieces of rocks. Then the third layer is bedrock, that is the lowermost layer. You can see in the diagram picture, see children, you can see in the diagram the bedrock, it contains larger pieces of rocks and it is deep inside the earth and contains large pieces of rocks and very little water. As there are large pieces of rocks and very less sand is present here, so the absorption of soil is water is very less in this region. So the absorption of water is present in the topmost layer, also humus is present in the topmost layer, so topsoil is the most fertile layer. Then subsoil, you can see smaller particles of rocks and in the bedrock there are bigger pieces of rocks. So children, after writing the explanation of the answer, you have to draw this diagram very neatly and color it as well. Thank you children.